Good afternoon, dear viewers. This is exactly 3 p.m. Cairo local time. This is Reem Tamir welcoming you to this news bulletin coming to you from Nile TV International and Channel 2. I'm really delighted to be joined by my very dear colleague, Sarah Slim. Good afternoon, Sarah.
Hello, Reem. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will start our news bulletin with the headlines. President Sisi shares a meeting on the progress in transportation and industrial projects. Foreign Minister Abdul Ati receives a phone call from U.S. counterpart on the latest developments in Gaza and Syria. Israeli occupation military strikes in Gaza Strip killed at least 70 people over the last day.
Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Fattah Sisi receives Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Transportation Kamil Al-Wazir, and Presidential Advisor for Urban Planning General Amir Sayyid Ahmed. The presidential spokesman said the meeting reviewed the progress of transportation and industrial projects, especially those related to establishing, modernizing, and operating ports across the country. He said that during the meeting, Sisi gave directions to speed up the implementation of founding comprehensive logistical development access to link production areas to seaports that are under development in order to turn them to international standard pivotal ports. The spokesman also said the aim is for the ports to have huge capacity with various logistical areas. He said the meeting also discussed developments to links with African countries through land, railway, and sea routes.
Minister of Foreign Migration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdel Ati asserted on the importance of resuming regional and international efforts to achieve immediate ceasefire and ensure the access of humanitarian aid to Gaza Strip. This came during a phone call Abdel Ati received from U.S. counterpart Antony Blinken on the latest development in Gaza and Syria. Foreign Minister Abdel Ati stressed on Egypt's supporting stance to the Syrian people, reiterating that the political transition process in Syria must be comprehensive to achieve stability and security there.
Israeli occupation military strikes in the Gaza Strip have killed at least 70 people over the last day. At least 17 of those who died were killed in Israeli occupation airstrikes on 2 houses in Gaza City, the first of which destroyed the home of the Al-Ghula family in the early hours. The Israeli occupation military alleged all those targeted in the strike were involved in terrorist activities. Another strike on a house in Gaza City killed 5 people later on Saturday. The Israeli occupation military said
U.S. President Joe Biden's administration has notified Congress of a proposed $8 billion arms sale to Israel. 2 U.S. officials said, with Washington maintaining support for its ally whose war in Gaza has killed tens of thousands. The deal would need approval from House of Representatives and Senate committee and includes munitions for fighter jets and attack helicopters as well as artillery shells. The package also includes small diameter bombs and warheads.
A Palestinian man was shot dead by Israeli forces during a raid in the occupied West Bank today. The Palestinian Fatah Party said in a statement. Palestinian media said Israeli forces opened fire on the home of a 37-year-old man in a town south of the West Bank city of Jenin. Jenin in the northern West Bank has been a center for Palestinian groups for decades, and armed factions have resisted repeated attempts to dislodge them by the Israeli military.
The Israeli military said today it intercepted a missile launched from Yemen, the latest in a series of recent attacks. On Friday, Israel's military said it shot down a missile and a drone launched from Yemen. In response, the Israeli Air Force has struck Houthi targets in Yemen, including Sana'a's international airport.
The UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon accused Israel of a flagrant violation of the 2006 Security Council resolution that forms the basis of its November ceasefire with Hezbollah. The statement from the UN interim force in Lebanon came as Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem warned the group's patience with Israeli violations could run out before the end of the ceasefire's 60-day implementation time frame.
Hezbollah chief Naim Qassem said that the group is prepared to respond to Israeli violations of their Lebanon ceasefire even before the expiry of a 60-day deadline for Israel to withdraw. The fragile truce, which took effect on November 27 after 2 months of full-blown war, has been marked by mutual accusations of violations from both sides. Hezbollah is to withdraw its forces north of the Litani River, some 30 kilometers from the border, and dismantle any remaining military infrastructure in the south.
Syria announced that the country's main airport in Damascus would resume international flights starting next week after such commercial trips were halted last month. Quoting the head of the General Authority of Civil Aviation and Air Transport, state news agency SANA said that the country will start receiving international flights to and from Damascus International Airport from Tuesday. International aid planes and foreign diplomatic delegations have already been landing in Syria. Domestic flights have also resumed.
Ukraine's air defense shot down 61 out of 103 drones launched by Russia in an overnight attack on Sunday. In another development, Russian airports in the cities east of Moscow, which temporarily halted flights on Sunday morning to ensure the safety of civilian aircraft, have resumed normal operations. The details are in the following report.
Ukraine's air defense shot down 61 out of 103 drones launched by Russia in an overnight attack on Sunday. The Ukrainian Air Force said that 42 other drones were lost in reference to Kyiv using electronic warfare. There were no immediate reports of major damage or casualties. In another development, Russian airports in the cities of Kazan, Nizhnekamsk, Ichevsk and Perm, east of Moscow, which temporarily halted flights on Sunday morning to ensure the safety of civilians' aircraft, have resumed normal operations. The Russian aviation watchdog did not specify a reason for the pause in flights arrivals and departures, but Russian airports have previously closed due to a risk of Ukrainian drone strikes in the area. Kazan's airport suspended flights on December 21 due to a Ukrainian drone attack on a residential complex and other areas of the city in which no one was injured. Earlier, Russia vowed to retaliate after it accused Ukraine of firing U.S.-supplied Attack-MS missiles at the border region of Belgorod. Outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden authorized Kyiv to use the long-range weapons against Russia last year in a move Moscow denounced as a grave escalation of the nearly 3-year conflict. Kyiv's use of the missile systems has infuriated the Kremlin, which has threatened to hit central Kyiv with a hypersonic ballistic missile in response to the strikes. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said in an interview published last month that he was very vehemently opposed to Ukraine using the arms, which he said were escalating the conflict.
Back home, where Pope Tawadros II, Patriarch of Alexandria and the Holy Apostolic See of St. Mark on Christmas, received greetings from senior state officials on the occasion of Christmas. Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, extended his greetings to Pope Tawadros II, wishing welfare and prosperity for all Egyptians, Muslims and Christians. This came during Al-Tayyib's meeting with Pope Tawadros. The Grand Imam also asserted that the visit aimed at renewing the friendly and brotherhood atmosphere among Egyptians. Sheikh Al-Tayyib pointed out that Egyptians should make use of such occasions to call for ending the Israeli genocide war in Gaza. For his part, Pope Tawadros II welcomed the Grand Imam and his accompanying delegation, stressing that the visit reflected the brotherhood spirit that prevails among all Egyptians.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli sent cable of congratulations to Pope Tawadros II, Patriarch of Alexandria, and the Holy Apostolic See of St. Mark, and all Copts on the occasion of Christmas. Prime Minister wished Pope Tawadros health and success and Egypt's stability and welfare.
Also, Minister of Interior Mahmoud Tawfiq visited the cathedral in Abbasiyya to greet Pope Tawadros II, Patriarch of Alexandria and the Holy Apostolic See of St. Mark, and all Egyptians on the holy occasion. He expressed his appreciation to the great national role of the Egyptian Church in spreading tolerance and love among all the people nationwide. To the same end, Speaker of the House of Representatives Hanafi Gibeli visited the papal headquarters of Al-Abbasiyya Cathedral, where he greeted Pope Tawadros, marking Christmas.
Moving to the economic and business sector, a report of Business Africa platform placed Egypt among the largest 10 pioneering African states in investments in the private sector. The report cited that Egypt was among the most prominent African states attracting foreign investments, despite the immense challenges that the continent's infrastructure pose on African economic growth and development. Egypt's private sector investments amount to 133 billion Egyptian pounds in the first quarter of 2024-2025, a 30% rise compared to the same period of the previous fiscal year.
Egypt's bourse opened in green amid local investor purchases against Arab and foreign investor sell-offs. The market capital of listed companies added 21 billion Egyptian pounds in 2 hours after opening, so far exceeding 2.2 trillion pounds. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose 0.6% near the 30,250 point mark. The equal weighted indices EGX 70 and EGX 100 both inched higher 0.5%.
China's central bank has outlined a moderately loose monetary plan aimed at boosting domestic demand to spur growth days after Chinese President Xi Jinping called for more provocative macroeconomic policies. Beijing last year struggled to lift the economy out of a slump fueled by a property market crisis, weak consumption, and soaring government debt. Officials have unveiled measures aimed at bolstering growth, including cutting interest rates and easing home buying restrictions, but economists have warned more direct stimulus may still be needed.
Moving to the exciting world of sports, in which Liverpool and Manchester United announced that their Premier League fixture is expected to go ahead as scheduled today, despite adverse weather conditions and snowfall. Liverpool top the standings with 45 points and have a game in hand over the other title contenders. They are 5 points ahead of second-placed Arsenal, while United, with 5 losses in their last 6 league games, are languishing in 14th with 22 points. Liverpool's derby against Everton was also postponed last month due to adverse weather conditions.
Naomi Osaka's quest for a first title in 4 years ended in heartbreak as the former world #1 retired with an injury after winning the opening set of the Auckland Classic final against Denmark's Clara Tauson today. It was an anticlimactic finish to the match, and Tauson said winning her third WTA Tour title after a similar drought didn't gloss over the worst final that she had played. Osaka's withdrawal sparked concerns about her fitness for this month's Australian Open, beginning on January 12.
Your 2025 ASB Classic Women's Champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Dear viewers, this brings us to the end of this English News Bulletin, coming to you from Night TV International and Channel 2. That was Reem Temir, along with my very dear colleague, Sara Slim. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you, Reem. It was a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, and stay tuned for the coming updates on the top of the hour. Thank you.